Hey, we are live, I think. I hope everything is working here. Looks like it. Just gonna finish setting up some stuff here. I wish I had some like elevator music I could play. I thought I had a different screen here. Okay, I'm just setting up everything here. Hey Mike, good to see there's someone here. I can't get to the right screen, but it doesn't matter. I've got the chat here, and I'll have no idea how many people are watching. So thanks for joining us, at least Mike, and I guess even if people usually watch this afterwards. So this is a release party. I forgot to get my beer. I wanted to get a beer, but I've only got a glass of water. I've got a bit of a cough, so hopefully I know it's not infectious over YouTube, but you should hopefully not hear me splutter too much. Okay, so hey, 1.2 is out, and that makes me so happy because mainly because now I get to go back to a little bit of programming. I can't remember if I said before that I wanted to do less programming and get more other people to do the programming, but I'm still going to do some, and actually in the future I still want to do a lot of the AI and data science programming. But we have got more people now working on the project, which is great. We've got a new contributor who's working not quite full time, but a fair amount of time, and is working on various issues, and that's great. To have just to be able to offload some of those issues, and I can focus on stuff that I'm good at and not do all the work, to be honest. I'm not necessarily the best person to do all the network engineering. Christian has been doing a lot of that stuff, and so great to have more people. Okay, so 1.2 is out, so I'm still going to do a little bit of the work. There's some core work, and that we're going to do, and then I didn't quite make the push. I think the goals for 1.2 were workflows, landing pages, and Copilot. Workflows, there's definitely a foundation there. I think we can do better with in terms of the interface. Let's see, what have we got? Not running. Too bad. Okay, there we go. That will come up in a second. And now I'm getting confused again. There we go. That was the window I wanted. Okay, so workflows. There's a foundation now. Well, look, it works for some people. Some people are actually finding it surprisingly useful, and I think we'll try and do better in the next release, just in terms of getting an overall UI refresh. But that definitely got the foundation in there. Copilot, we got some important steps in this release cycle. I know that's a different module that's not really tied to the core Saltcorn, but we got some better capabilities, and there's definitely there also that's more of a foundation to work on. So Copilot, the most important thing we got in 1.2 was this user Copilot. That's really important. That just allowing you to build Copilots for your users based on the data and the actions and the workflows that you have already in your application. You can now build some sort of chatbot interface with some tool calling support coming through those tables and actions. So that was definitely a foundation. Landing pages, we didn't necessarily get. We got animations. We didn't necessarily. We got a few more features. I can't remember if translation was part of this release or it was the previous one in terms of the major releases. But we did make some progress, but maybe not quite as much as I'd hoped. But look, I'm also aware that landing pages is not our core focus, and it's okay to that we have something that allows you to throw together a quick landing page that works as the front end to an application, and I think that's sort of good enough there until you want to get a dedicated landing page. But we should keep on pushing the layout flexibility. Also, just because whenever we get flexibility we get into landing pages, that will also work its way into views. So you can build an application with more more flexibility in the views. So I'd say those. So Copilot definitely need to do some more work on that, and the landing pages as well. Happy to hear any ideas that people have. In terms of since the last couple of last office hour, which was 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, a lot of that focus has been on fixing bugs, as is always the case in late in a release cycle. So we had all these bugs. Let's bring up the GitHub. We had this this issue. We made a label called something like 1.2 for things we'd like to fix in 1.2. Some of those are still open, but at least more of them are closed than open. But a lot of the ones that are open are things where either they're tied to a completely different module. For instance, there was one about the Kanban board that, it may be a bug, it may be important, but it's not necessarily something that has to be tied to the 1.2 release cycle. And a lot of these are things that are actually fixed. We're just waiting for people to acknowledge they're fixed. Oh, here's the Kanban one that I need to look at. But we did fix a lot of these, and a lot of these are not issues anymore. But of course, new things come up. So that is any case, it's out now, 1.2. I'm sorry to people who, if you had like a bug here that was really important for you, then do get in touch or just write on that bug and sort of it's okay if, like, I often miss things, right? Often I miss emails, and I miss just nudges here. So just keep on nudging and keep on like tagging me on this on these issues if there's something that you think should be fixed and isn't fixed. Somebody did that the other day and said, like, sorry, I haven't heard anything. So that's fine. Just keep on persisting, because I have a lot of people trying to talk to me and stuff. Okay, so that's these issues. So I guess the ones that really aren't fixed are they're gonna go in the next release cycle and hopefully get fixed there. I know that some of this work on it. So that's kind of this period before a major release is never one of my favorites, because I never feel super productive just by fixing issues. But you gotta fix bugs. That's otherwise we have a buggy product. And so that's coming up, and hopefully all of these will either be fixed or some of them aren't real bugs. I think some of these are fixed. Like I think this one, for instance, was actually fixed in. Yes, I think it's fixed. So a lot of these are no longer issues. Just waiting for people to confirm before closing them. So fixing those bugs has been like a lot of something we focused on a lot. And the other thing that has just happened very recently is this new plugin. Two new plugins. This one, Bootstrap Icons, is in the plugin store now. I can show you this. So this was, I didn't do this. Our new developer Gerard did this and developed it this was we introduced the ability to create Bootstrap icons in like very early, but I never got around to creating a plugin that supplies new icons. But now I can show you. So first of all, let's make sure it's installed. Bootstrap icons is installed, and now if I go to a page, no, let's go to a different page. Let's just create a new page. So now if you're on something, you see icons either on text, buttons, or on links. Where do I have a link? I know I have a link somewhere. Yeah, link here. Or you also see it on menu items, right? So this menu item has a button. Sorry, an icon. So like on each of these, I can choose an icon here. For the link, I choose the icon here. For the text, I choose the icon here. And for the button, again, it's the same. So let's just see. So now that I have the Bootstrap icon plugin installed, I get a lot more icons, and I don't really know what some of them are. Oops. I want to go here to page 150. So I guess these are all Bootstrap icons. Oh. Oops. I don't know why that's happening. It's a bit annoying. Anyways. So you get like more stuff here. You can see like more pages. And you can search for them, right? So I don't know what these are called, but this one is probably called something like no left turn. Parking. I guess this is one of the new ones, no parking. Great. So if you're doing like a city map, you can put no parking icons now on your links. There you go. So that is now working. So you now get a lot more icons, and some of the themes come with their own icons. So this Metronic, which is the commercial theme that we have, you have to pay a license to use it. That comes with its own icons. So we'll probably add a list of those icons to the Metronic theme. And the other one that we have this. Gerard did this table icons as well, but I haven't put it in the store because there's some ambiguity about whether it's actually open source. The website isn't quite clear on whether this is really open source, so I just need to clarify that and try and figure out whether we're allowed to actually use it or whether we should make it like a commercial plugin where you have to have a license. Or maybe we can just put a note on it saying, you should pay. So great. That's it. Okay, icon plugins are now live. You can use them, install them from the store, and I think that's actually going to make me happy because the plugins we had, the icons we had previously, which were purely font awesome, were somewhat limited. The table icons are actually quite nice. They have like 5,000 different icons, so if we can get those in, that would be nice. See, the other thing that I did just to round off some stuff we talked about for the last office hours was this business of, the PDF. I think it was it Hot Rocks? That was somebody's username on Twitter, on YouTube, where we couldn't get it to work. I guess I can try it now. Anyways, the problem was that the page to PDF, I was kind of struggling with it at the last office hours. And the problem was that the PDF module, page to PDF, print to PDF module, just hadn't really been converted for workflows. The workflows are built on actions, but is a little bit different from the way it would run in a workflow, and there's a way for workflows for actions to know whether they're running in actions that are tied just to purely to buttons, or whether they're or indeed tied to just table events, or whether they are a mode that so my OBS is telling me that I've disconnected. That's bad. Am I having network problems? That would be very sad. That would be very sad. No, I think it's good. I think I had a temporary network failure there. As I said in the blog post, I'll get to the blog post as well. As I said, we're getting fiber. Until we get fiber, it's like super unreliable here. It's the punishment for living in London. Yeah. What can I say? Especially, it's not raining now, but when it's raining, we get tons of network errors, and the speed just drops, and sometimes it stops working for minutes. It's kind of annoying. But hopefully, when we get fiber, it'll all be much better. I'm sure it'll be totally reliable. And also it'll be fun if I can try and set it up. We'll set it up so I can interview people on these office hours, and we can have more of a conversation instead of me just sitting here and talking. So I think there are a couple of people who would be interested in being on an interview and talking about the projects that they did. So anyways, okay, let's go back here. So what did I do here? This is still not working. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're getting these historical books, and we are, we're looping through them and creating the PDF. It's good. And why are we setting the context for any particular reason, or am I just having fun here? I don't know why I'm setting the context, but that was what I did. And then we want to print the output, just saying done. Okay, let's try and run it. Great. ID is not. Oh, I need to wait. What do I need to do? Maybe I didn't quite fix it. I know I fixed the code. Book ID. Maybe I need to do book ID here. Let's try and run this. Okay. It's generating PDFs. And so for this one sent me to, so let's see, like if I look in my files, that's generated these two PDFs, both of them just now. So it was sending this stuff, it's like redirecting me. That's not great, but I think there's a setting somewhere where you can disable that. No, maybe not. Anyways, it's generating the PDFs, and those are now in your file store. Save to file. So that was the one I actually forgotten last time. It's another reason why it didn't work. Okay, so anyways, it works now. You can generate PDFs and workflows, and it's good. Okay. So, that kind of is me talking about the past. I've lost my chat window. Yeah, I am back. Thanks, Mike. And now I was going to go through, obviously if people have questions, feel free to, just pop them up, and we'll do, another, I can answer questions, but if there aren't any questions, I was just going to go through sort of what's happening in the future and go through some of these issues that are for the next release. And just talk about what these are. Wrong one. Yeah, feature. And I want to undo this one. Okay, so these are the features that are planned for 1.4. And I thought, I know we've discussed some of these before, but I just want to go through them and talk about what some of these are and explain some of them, and these should be much less disruptive than some of the features that we've built. In particular, what was super disruptive was introducing these transactions. That was very disruptive in terms of the code. Let me just talk about the blog post. So I wrote a blog post. Here we go. So I just wrote about what happened in 1.2. I wrote about some of the projects we worked with. So this is, we're working with, IT service providers, some nanotech, semiconductor stuff. We're working with the gym. We have 2 climate mitigation projects. We have 2, at least, local government projects. What I just learned today, which is so exciting, is that there's actually a brewery where you can go in and interact with Saltcorn. I will talk more about it when that startup has launched. They're using Saltcorn to take payments for, I don't want to say too much, an entertainment device. And it's super exciting, and it's live. They're processing payments with Saltcorn, and that seems to work. So we have the PayPal module that's now taking payments, and that's working. I mean, we've done payments before, of course, but I guess we have had public. We have some car rental companies that use Saltcorn, and as I said, beach hut rentals. But this is just in a very obvious way that you can, and it's happening in a brewery, and it's all fun. It's like a fun project. So that was kind of fun and good to hear. And we also have this credit union that is using Saltcorn for their core infrastructure. I don't know if they're live with that, but they are basically migrating from a ledger. I don't know if that was in Excel or in a book, handwritten, but they're migrating to a core system for just tracking transactions and their account holdings, which is running in Saltcorn. That's very exciting. So some, and as well, we're working with, some huge projects. We're working on a very large company using Saltcorn for their customer feedback service. So that's going out to customers in many languages. Some of the translation efforts that have happened recently have been driven by them. We've added a lot of languages recently. And these are, so they're sending out customer surveys to their clients, and those are they're going through customer feedback essentially. And that's a project that's going really well. So all around, a lot of projects in many different domains. We have a new project that I can't really talk too much about, but is also quite fun using AI. I guess I can say it's using AI in marketing, and that's something that I'm going to be working on quite a lot over the next month or so. And potentially more in the future. So that's the blog post. So I just went through, some of the big things, some of the big things that happened since 1.1. So we talk about workflows, transactional isolation, the new mobile builder. Very cool stuff that's happening right now is we're getting unit tests that involve the build. So during the build, we will build during the unit tests that run on every commit and every merge to the main branch in GitHub. We will build an app, create the mobile application, and run that mobile application inside an emulator in a mock browser running in the continuous integration server. So we've never had that good testing. We had some unit testing of the mobile code, but not really end-to-end testing. So that's super exciting, and that's going to be, just increasing the reliability. So previously, I often break the mobile code because I had some feature and I'm not doing the mobile stuff. Christian is doing that, so I often end up breaking it. And then before every big release, Christian runs around and undoes the havoc that I've caused and sort of brings the mobile build up to date to some of the features that I've added. And has broken his work. So hopefully now with having things in continuous integration, having continuous testing, that'll be super nice and sort of be a more cohesive project as well, and not break things in the middle of the development cycle. Okay, so we talked about animations. I showed that. More tightening of the security model. I think I mentioned that, and it's also in the changelog that we're now more consistently checking things. So if a view is embedded inside a view, all of the view permissions are now checked. And if also like for populate when you get a drop down that's being filled with options, then that's getting, that's checking that it has table access. That's stuff that we didn't do in the previous release. And I didn't really want to fix it because I knew it would break a lot of applications. And I think I didn't really want to do that in between, before 1.0, potentially late in that cycle. So we left a lot of those things. We did write out, we have security notes and we wrote about some of those things. But which reminds me, I need to update those. I'll show you where they are. They live here on GitHub, and there is this security.md. So this is actually out of date now because it doesn't. No issue. I guess I removed it. I removed it during the 1.1 development cycle. So you should read this if you, if you have a high, if you, it's got some hints and risks and stuff like that. Right. So. Where was I? Okay, so that's basically it. So I wrote a blog post. I'm gonna do more blog posts. I promise. I'm gonna work much more on the community. I want to do all the videos. I know we haven't done tutorial videos. It's really embarrassing. We have not done tutorial videos for more than a year, and those tutorial videos they stop in the middle of nowhere in the project, and I think I know the first one I'm going to do one about the user system, because whenever I work with a new client, I always have to spend some time explaining the user system. It's just not really documented anywhere. And so we have to have some video and maybe also revisit the documentation that's on on the wiki about the user system. So I'm going to do a video. I promise I will do it about the different layers and the different complexities. I think there was an office hour where we talked about this a lot, and that became like a mini tutorial. But I want to do something that's more sort of fits in with that tutorial format, where we talk about the different layers. So you have, like, in the beginning, you just have the role system, and then you can add, when that's not enough, then you add an ownership field. And when that's not enough, then you add ownership groups, ownership formulae, and stuff like that. And also talk about the protected fields, also not very, very well documented. So that's that will happen. And I do want to focus more on growing the community rather than just sitting and programming. I'm sitting in this little corner here. You can't really see, but it's basically like kind of enclosed, and it feels a bit like I'm in some sort of cave and I'm locked myself in. And I need to get out there and talk to people. I do talk to people. I sit here and talk to people quite a lot. But I want to be a little bit more proactive in that. Okay, we've got some questions coming in. Gokman Gherkin, is that a possible OSM feature in Saltcorn? What's OSM? I have no idea what OSM is. Should I Google it, or you can explain? I think somebody else should be doing the tutorial. You already have a lot of things in development. Interesting. Yes, but yes, maybe. Oh, so Christian Hugo is doing the mobile tutorials. I think actually he started on that. He did mention something about this. So he is doing some mobile tutorial. He did some previously, but they were more about sort of setting up your system to build. But he is doing some tutorials where we go through end to end how to build a mobile application. So there are more people doing the tutorials. Should somebody else, I mean, look, ideally somebody else should do everything, right? That's kind of my job, is to make myself redundant and to find people who can do all of the things that I do. Look, I'm not adverse to the idea of somebody else doing the tutorials. I think that definitely people with better sort of on-screen personality or whatever you call it, and also just who are better at editing and can do much better videos. Maybe I think what I'm kind of hoping is that as the community grows and as the business behind it grows as well, we have there's a company which is bootstrapped, no funding, not particularly run professionally, which is fine, but it's kind of like that's where if you're paying us money to develop something that goes into a company. And like my dream would be that I guess that I did some rough outline of some videos and maybe did the first version of some videos, and then there'd be somebody with much better video skills and much better lighting and all that, right? Who can do some of those videos and sort of redo them. That would be the ideal for me. Okay, so we have OpenStreetMap. There is a map. Okay, yes, the answer is yes. It's there, and it can happen. Okay, so now there are questions. So wait, should I go back? Okay, I'll answer these questions. Greg, congrats, Tom. Thank you, Greg. And let me answer those questions, and then if there's time, I'll go back and explain these issues that I was on. Look, maybe some of them are self-explanatory, but some of them are not. So I do want to get back to them. But I also want to answer the questions, because answering the questions was the original purpose of these office hours. So let's go for it. Let's build a map. Dear, what have I talked myself into? First, you need to install the module. It is called Leaflet. It's already installed here. But if it wasn't installed, you just install it here, right? So you just click like install on Leaflet map. Leaflet is okay. Wait, I'm never really I'm a little bit confused about the relationship between Leaflet and OpenStreetMaps. And I'm talking about the way it was a number of years ago. I did some map work even before Saltcorn, so maybe like 8 years ago. And I didn't really get it at the time. The way I think is OpenStreetMap is it's the tiles and it's the data. OpenStreetMap is not a JavaScript library. There are multiple different implementations of OpenStreetMap. I hope that's still the case. Let's look these things up. So, I mean, this is what it looks like, but I don't wonder if, like, software libraries. Okay, so the one we use is Leaflet. Is that here? Leaflet. Huh. I wonder if things have changed. Anyways, the way I understand it, which may be wrong, don't blame me, is that Leaflet is basically the library that allows you to interact with OpenStreetMap's data. So you can actually see this. The way, if you do it in code, then you put the you say that you should be using the tiles from OpenStreetMap. I think Leaflet can also use tiles from different maps, and sometimes people have fun, like they'll build a tiles from Middle Earth, the Tolkien world and Mars and stuff like that. But so basically the way it's set up is Leaflet is sort of the library, and that's using the tiles from OpenStreetMap. Okay, so you install, and in Saltcorn, by default, Leaflet will always use the OpenStreetMap. It's not that flexible. You can't use Mars or Middle Earth. You only get Earth done by OpenStreetMap. Okay, so you've installed the module here, Leaflet Map. Then you need a table. So I'm going to start. There's nothing here called location, so I have so many tables here in this application. So let's do locations. And you need some fields. So you need latitude, and they need to be floating point numbers. And just leave all that. And you need longitude. And that's also a floating point number. And then, you typically have something like name. Well, what is this, right? This is like an ice cream van or something like that. Okay, so let's put some data in. What do I actually know? I can't remember. I don't remember. I think London is 51, but I can't remember if that's longitude or latitude. Let's just see what happens. If I do 151 Saltcorn HQ. Okay, I have no idea if that will end up anywhere near where I am. Okay, let's try. So we're just going to create the basic views. This is a new facility as well, by the way. Some of you may not have seen it. But now, if you don't have any views, you get this button, create basic views, and it just creates you super simple edit, show, and locations. And actually, we're going to need a show. And I'm just going to delete everything apart from the name. Oops. Okay. So now we're going to create a new view. We're going to create the map now. Location map. Leaflet map. So there are two different ones. The multi-table, it's a little bit redundant now because the idea was that you'd have data from two different tables and you can bring them together in one map, but that's now slightly redundant, as you'll see, because you can do that even within one. Okay, it doesn't matter right now. It's just for admin. Okay, so you have to choose a pop-up view, which is one of the views on the same table. So here I could have done edit, but I'll do show locations. And then you have to say which is the latitude field. That's already latitude. Which is the longitude field. Oops, I misspelled. One of these misspelled longitude. I have no idea which one is correct. That's probably longitude. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know about this. And you can also do custom icons. That is a if you have a file if you have a file field on this location on this table, then you can actually get custom icons that go on the map. And you also have to set the size here, 300 by 300. I don't know. That's the pop-up width, and this is the height of the map. So let's make it a little bit bigger. And max rows per page. I can't remember why we did that. Maybe that's sometimes you get too many markers, so you can set this to if you want to limit the number of markers. Okay, and then you have this other thing where you have other map. I guess we have another map in this application. So what you get, this is where you bring together maps from different map views, and they both show markers on the same map. It's kind of useful. So okay, so let's see now. We have our location map. Okay, where was this? That's close. Okay, I think 51. Okay, so look, I'm not gonna sort of try and find my house or whatever, but that's basically the way it works. There's some subtleties. I mean, first of all, so if the initial zoom can be difficult, I think we do need, look, I'd be super interested in hearing feedback on this. I know that this is something people do use. It is very simple for the moment. And it's yeah, I think there are a lot of additional functionality we could expose through options. So, super interested in hearing what people want to see in this map plugin, to just, especially if there's small improvements. We had a bunch of suggestions that were just a little bit too much because people wanted to do GIS projects. We actually have a project that is gonna do a little bit more here. So there could be some developments here. So there's one project that's heavily based on GIS. So maybe things will happen. Anyways, okay, let's see what happens here if we do like 51, so 52. So there is a subtlety about the initial zoom, and you're not always able to control it. So if there are multiple locations, then it tries to draw something that is around both of these dots. So if the dots cover like an entire continent, then you'll see the entire continent. If they're all in one city, then you'll see just that city. So it tries to be sort of doing the right thing there. But if you only have one dot, like you saw before, it was very zoomed in, then that can be harder to control. And I can't remember if we did something about taking the initial zoom from the state variable or something like that. That may be something we need to add. Okay, so that's OpenStreetMaps. There you go. Just let me know if this isn't good enough. Mike says the field label is wrong. Okay, great. I will rote learn how to spell longitude. Gokman Gherkin again. I am in the infrastructure construction industry, and the problem there is a lack of management and OSM or leaflet on site. Push notifications for mobile, Gantt chart, and automation. I mean, interesting. That's actually the project we have. It's not quite like that. I'll tell you, out of those, what we can do is, I mean, management, I don't really know what you mean, right? So management could be anything. Look, I mean, yeah, look, Saltcorn is focused on editing rows in a database, right? And showing that data from the database in flexible ways. We certainly have management applications, right? We have one company that's running quite a lot of employees on a Saltcorn application, and their specific, it's an R&D organization I'm thinking about right now. And in that organization, the employees come in every day and they're told what to do on a Saltcorn application, right? So depending on what you mean by that, probably we could do it. And if we can't, be interested to hear. Okay, OSM on site. I think this does work, on mobile. There shouldn't be any issue with that. Should we see what it looks like? This is Firefox. I can't remember how to do the... Did I not have the... Chrome has this little mobile emulator. Oh yeah, here it is. So look, I think that looks okay. But, again, let me know if you think about any specific feedback here. Okay, so push notification for mobile is interesting. So we can't do that for the moment. And I'd like to do it. We have talked about it many times. We know what to do. I didn't really put it as a feature for 1.4. We had somebody who was interested in sponsoring that development. But then what happened, there was all this drama around Apple, iOS, and PWAs. I can't remember if you remember. What happened was it was all down to European Union regulations, not GDPR, but some other thing. And Apple basically removed PWA functionality from iOS. I think it was in 1.17.3 or something. It's a number that pops into my head. And so we stopped doing that because it looked like it wasn't going to work. And now, as far as I remember, PWAs are back. Then they were back, and then they were going to get removed as well, and then they came back. So it was all a little bit too much drama. But it's a topic that does come up. Look, we have the infrastructure. We just need to write the the code to make that work with the PWA functionality and with the what's called web. No, it's got some name. I can't remember. There's a name for this protocol. Christian did all of this work, and I can't remember what it's called. Web push or something like that. I can't remember. There's like a protocol for this where you use the service worker to push the notifications. So look, it's not there. If people shout loud enough, it will be there. And now also we have a little bit more resources, so it's something that we could develop without necessarily having a specific sponsor for it. If that company doesn't want to go back and sponsor it. So and it wasn't going to be that much work. It's not like half a year's work. It was going to be a week's work. So look, it can happen if people really want push notifications, right? So we're talking about, in case people are confused, this is like when on your lock screen when it comes up, right? These are Gantt chart we can do. We have a Gantt chart. We have 2 Gantt charts, in fact. See, do I have one already so I can just show you? That would be the easiest. I don't have a Gantt chart. That is a shame because it's a bit of a pain to set up. I don't have one I can show you. It takes a little bit of time to set up. Look, I'm going to show you what it's based on, because this is what it will look like. Maybe I should set one up. Firebase for push notifications. Yeah, maybe. Look, there are different possibilities. We could do Firebase. I don't really know. I was trying to minimize the number of like cloud components. There are different service providers. There was one service provider that we looked at that would have been easy, but then it was a bit weird. People had to install the app of that service provider on their phone, not our app. So I don't know. No, I will maybe revisit this. Okay, this is the library that we are based on. Oops. Where's the demo? There's the demo. So they used to have a maybe they changed a bit. Okay, so you can see it here. They used to have all these demos. Get started. That's that. They don't have the. Oh well, they don't have the demos anymore. It's a bit of a shame. Because the demos were very nice. They had like a couple of different demos. Anyways, what you do in Saltcorn is, let's see, can I build? We have a little bit of time, I guess. Okay, where am I? I'm lost here. Should I do it? On the subject of maps, when you can, could you explain which HTML code I used to make a custom aggregation to sum a field of type money? I can explain that. This isn't HTML code, but okay, let me just answer that first. So to make it, is this not working? I think I did something recently about to get that working. Is money installed? Money is installed. I can't remember which table I use it in, but I can search with the registry editor. Money. Okay, bicycles seem to have money. Okay, so if I want to do an aggregation of money, let's see, but that wouldn't be an aggregation. Let's pick another one. Books, my trusty table that has everything. Does that have a money field? That has a money field. Okay, so, and that has an aggregation. Okay, so let's do an aggregation. This is like a publisher table. The other one is a book table. The idea is like you have a publisher that has many books. It's just my demo for book for. It's like a table that I use to develop on. Okay, so let's see here. So what we want. So I mean, you can do it in different ways, right? So one way is to build a stored field. And can that be money? I'm not sure if that can be money. Hey, by the way, I haven't really tried that. There was something about aggregations and money. Let me see if it works. So, okay, so what we want is a field. So this is a publisher. They have books that belong to publishers. Now we want a field here that says what's the total. Did you want total? Yeah, you wanted the sum. So we want the sum of the cost of all the books. And it's a little bit meaningless, but sum of prices. Okay. Oh, wait. So you need to calculate it, stored. And then you drop down here to aggregation. And you pick the relation. And then you pick price and sum. So that price and sum and now for some reason sometimes you have to do this the first time, but when it updates it should update automatically. Okay, so now here we should have, what did I call it? Sum of price. I guess these publishers don't have any books, so the books don't have prices. So here you have an aggregation, right? And now if you want to show that, now you can just do like, what do we have here? I mean, if you just have a list here, so you asked like HTML code, so I assume you want to do something fancy. So what you can do here is you can now use this inside an aggregation, right? So you have the value, and now you access it with here. So now I'm gonna write, okay, let's do H, because doing something that's obviously HTML. So I'm gonna do an H4. And then you want to put that aggregation value in. And so we're starting here. So this, I'm just doing the outside bits first. So we're doing the tag here. And now, what did I call it? Sum of price. Is that right? So I'm not quite sure, right? What did I call it? Sum of prices. So actually this is the one you want to use. If you just want to copy it, you just do that. And now I've lost it. Oh, where is it? There it is. Okay. Okay. So, and now you can do like whatever. You want to do your $sign here. All right, let's just do that. So now, here you go, right? So this is obviously HTML. I've got the H4 here, and you could do the same in a show view. You can drop the HTML, and now you're accessing the aggregation value here. That's the sum of the prices of all of the books in that sort of have the key to that publisher. What should we do? Should we? Okay, look, you can get rid of this $sign, which you probably don't want. You can put that inside here, but okay, fine, let's do it. Okay. Uh-oh, what did I do wrong? Am I missing something here? Sum of prices. Sometimes it doesn't save. What did I do wrong here? Ah, okay. Alright, there we go. Yeah, sometimes, because there's a save here, but sometimes when you then go to the other page, it hasn't saved yet. So there's like there's an autosave. So when I type something in here, you see it saving, but now it hasn't saved yet, and there's a little delay. So sometimes when you run a view the first time, sometimes it hasn't quite saved yet. Okay, great. So I hope that sort of explains what we meant here. I mean, you can also do an aggregation without having a stored field, which I actually prefer. Sorry. You can just drop an aggregation in here. But it is true you have less flexibility here. Right, so here you do your books publisher, price sum, but it is true now. Well, you have like, you can choose this field view here, but that's not a lot of flexibility. But now you do have less flexibility, it's true. So I hope that was what you asked for. Okay, what did I promised to do a Gantt chart. We have 3 minutes left. Can I build a Gantt chart in 3 minutes? Greg, I notice 1+ for push notifications. I think it would be a cool feature. I think we did have someone else have this. I work with on this project that's a charity and they're not paying, but they wanted push notifications, so it didn't happen. But they could have used it. I mean, it's not terribly sort of important for them, but they did ask for it. So I think people have asked for push notifications, and look, it will happen at some point. Okay, let's build that. More questions. Okay, wait, but I did want to show the Gantt chart. I want to see if I can do a Gantt chart in... We now have 2 minutes. Gantt events. Okay, let's build this quickly. So from is it date, and then either you can do duration in hours, minutes, or something, or you can just do 2, which is also a date, and then you want something, right? Name. That's just the name of the event, right? This is my party. This is my HR meeting, whatever. Okay, I guess that's all you actually need. So wait, no, you have rows as well. So let's do something like users. Or responsible. So this is the person who it's assigned. No, it's called assignee. This is the person who it's assigned to. So you do need that, and it'll be obvious why in a second. Okay, so let's get some. No, actually, I can just create. Oops. I can just create basic views now, and I can just do there. But now I don't get this basic view. It doesn't get flat picker. I think we should make it have flat picker if flat picker is installed. And let's move this down here. Okay. Let's see. List Gantt charts. Okay, so Saltcorn release party office hours. So this is today from 17. Also today to 18, and you know, who knows how long we're gonna go on for, because I'm not done yet. Okay, I'm gonna say we're probably gonna finish at 6:15. And what's gonna happen? I'm gonna watch a movie later. So that's gonna be from 19 until 21. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got some events. Oh wait, I needed to do the responsible people. They weren't quite here. Okay. Okay, good. I think I added that field. Is that right? I added that field after. Yeah, I added that field after creating the basic views, so they don't catch up. You know, that's the way it goes. Okay, let's add that Gantt chart. So, do I have the Gantt chart installed? I don't have the Gantt chart installed. Okay. Modules. I said this is the one. This is a little bit simpler. It's not. I think it's like doesn't allow you to move, but it's also easier to configure. So try that one as well. I didn't build this one. Somebody else did. Alexander Sokolov did. Sokolov. But I built this one, and this has, you know, a lot of options, and has a lot of different settings. This is when I said before that there was a company where people are assigned, they come in every day and they're told what to do on this. That's what they're using that a lot. Okay. So let's do the Gantt chart. Gantt chart here. Gantt events. Gantt events. Gantt chart. Okay, so what you gotta choose, you have the title field. We'll use the name again here. You can actually do a formula here. But this is hover over, that doesn't really work. Okay. Am I having this network thing again? Okay, good. Row field. Okay, so this is where the row field is. You'll see what that is. I'll explain it when we get it up. We don't get a preview, right? No. Row label. So there's all this stuff. You can have dependencies. You saw that in when I showed you the website, right? They have these links between tasks. And that you have to have a table for that. And okay, here. So this is what we key have to set from and to. My browser's being super slow. I don't know why. Okay, and so you can set the color. There's milestones that show up differently. I think they're like diamond shaped. Let's just do it. I think this is okay. I think it's something with the preview being funny. I have a feeling now that I've done something wrong. I think it's the preview that's slowing things down. Let's try and run it without the preview and see what happens. Yeah, this isn't working. I have a feeling that there's something else you have to set. And now this is like by being hyperactive. Anyways, play with it. There's some setting that you have to set that I forgot. And did I set? I did set the row field. There's something that you need here that I've forgotten, and that slows everything down now. It's quite a hyperactive library, this Gantt chart. And I can't get this back. But have a play with it. And anyways, yeah, we can do Gantt charts. They definitely work, ordinarily speaking. You just have to. There's a lot of settings for this Gantt chart. You could also look at the other one. It's much simpler to set up, many fewer options. I'm just not familiar with it. Okay, quick question here that I'm going to do this last. Mike says exit. I assume that means goodbye or something like that. Or maybe not. How can Saltcorn be integrated with Outlook for actions like sending emails or creating calendar events after a form is submitted? So sending emails works now. I hope I can do this without showing my password. This now has an option for, wait, what is it? There's some way you can get this. I can't remember. There's a recent ticket about this, how to get it to work with Microsoft. Oh, I think it's something like you have to, if your SMTP host has Microsoft, then it works. It sort of does the right thing for Microsoft. So it works with Outlook for sending emails. However, calendar events does not. Yeah, so you're saying, should we use SMTP or Microsoft Graph API? Both work. So if you set Microsoft tells you what the host is, something Microsofty, if you type that here, and I think you have to select OAuth 2, then it will use the Graph API. Okay, great. But calendar events. So we have this new module called CalDAV, and that allows you to interact with calendars, but it's not going to work with Microsoft, and it's not going to work with Google either. It's not going to work with Microsoft because Microsoft does not support CalDAV, which is a bit of a shame. I think there's some adapters you can use for calendar synchronization with Microsoft's API, but they don't support the standard API. I recognize that, I can't just say, oh no, that's bad, Microsoft. People want to do this, so we'll probably do something about this. Google you can't use because that CalDAV module has not been enabled with OAuth, but we will do something about that. So Google Calendar Sync will come. But you can do it now with sort of a self-hosted CalDAV. And I use it for I have this, what's it called? Fastmail. That works. I use that to create calendars and read calendars from Fastmail. And there are lots of providers. It's like a standard. But if it needs OAuth, then that hasn't been enabled yet. But we definitely can do that. Microsoft calendars, I don't know. I have to look at the API and see how much work it is. Okay, great. Thank you, Mike. So glad that you didn't exit. I guess that was a terminal prompt or something like that. Good to see you back. But we are done for today. I am going to have a relaxing evening, hopefully, and do nothing apart from watching a movie. And thanks for joining. Maybe I'll figure out how to do the Gantt charts. I think I do remember this before, that there's something you have to set. I'll try and figure it out before the next office hours. I just don't feel like going through all the options right now. And also it seems to be like when you're doing a lot of stuff, like with the broadcast I'm doing here, then that Gantt chart, if it's not set up correctly, it uses up like a lot of your CPU. So I will try and figure that out for the next Gantt chart, for the next office hours, if I remember. Thank you for joining. Have a good weekend, everyone. And it's always been a pleasure to answer your questions.